Water is what water? Remington created compositions in the studio based on his knowledge and experience, and he often did not particularly intend to indicate a particular spot in the world. Even if people come to you and they insist that that is the St. Lawrence River, or they insist that it is Cranberry Lake, or wherever they insist it is of no matter. I don't think Remington ever, in our paintings, intended for anything to be some particular place.
Yeah, that's basically, I've stayed away from that too. But I thought since I...
People will want to argue with you.
Remington's brain looks of water, basically.
Well, I mean, that mountain does look a lot like Bear Mountain at Cranberry Lake. Right. That is a Hudson River canoe with a Métis guy in it. It is not literally, these things do not literally belong together in any particular place and time.
So, okay.
But it's really wonderful water.
It is good water. I really like how it does.
And the feeling, you know,
And the sky.
It's really nice to compare that one and this one and this one. You know, completely different colors, completely different feelings. You know, here you've got the howl of the wind. There's a storm coming. What most people don't realize, there's a woman in the middle and she's holding a child. Okay, you have to look a little closer for that. But you look at it and you know they're going to reach the shore, right? They're going to be safe. Because the way the men are portrayed, so very sure of themselves, and here they're sort of huddling in nice contrast. Okay, the strength of the men to the very fragile sort of woman and the child. And again, the waves, I mean the colors, when you look at it, there are a lot of colors in here once more. Picking up the browns there in the boat, lots of browns in here. So it's carrying it through. Look at the mountain there. It's got tinges of red, but look at the brown. So it's all unified together. And then you've got this grayish color here and the gray up there in the sky compared to what you have over there. These three are really, really nice to look at because of this treatment of the water. And hauling in the gill net here, not really stormy, not really mist and morning, but they're working. Okay, they're hauling in the fish, and there's the brown, and because you've got the brown boats here, it's again carried through. There are touches of brown here, but the sky and the water all seem to be within the same sort of color.
Well, the sky and the water, they reflect each other.
Yeah.
And you have warm colors of van, school colors of the tree.
Yep.
For your distance. But was he doing this stuff for the magazines at this time? I know he was with the Plains Indians. And
Colliers. He had a contract with Colliers to provide one color image a month, got $1,000 each. It would be reproduced in often double page size, but the magazine had no control over what he chose.
He was getting $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
He became wealthy.
That was a lot of money back then.
He was very successful. His images were selling the magazines.
Yeah. As I was saying also, because especially when he was doing the Cowboys and Indians, the Easterners were just, they were just taking one picture after another and putting it in their house. These were wild savages that they wanted to see. This was new. They had no idea what was out west. So to them, all this blood and gore and Indians and the cavalry and so forth was all new, and they wanted to see what was going on.
Yeah, plus I also heard that it was at the time when the Plains Indians were being put on the reservations, and that era was closing down, and it's a romantic thing, and all the Easterners wanted to capture or see that before it was all gone, because they knew it was coming to an end.
Yeah.
And in fact, it was just about at an end when Remington's career took off.
It was in the late 1880s and
Yes.
90s.
That's right. But he had a good imagination. He brought the sort of the Indian wars back in some of his paintings.
Right.
Yeah.
So again, going back to a historical time, and he also visited reservations and and documented what he saw going on there, which he had very strong feelings about. He was not happy with the way the Indians were asked to do work that didn't suit them and their confinement. And he also thought it was an outrage that these very noble soldiers were forced to do such mundane work as policing reservations.
Yeah. So now here we get into what what we call his impressionistic work. At the end of his life, in like 1909 and so forth, he and his wife would go up north in northern Quebec. Actually, it wasn't that north; it was just north of Ottawa. We've actually there were a couple of Canadians who came along who actually been to this hunting club, and I could point out what was there. It's no people.